how acupuncture works is still a mystery. And one can choose among various theories, some of them very old and some of them very modern, to explain what are essentially is empirical knowledge. As I pointed out, acupuncture has now been practiced, as far as we know, for at least 2,500 years continuously. And the amount of practical information and knowledge that's been acquired through that practice is enormous. And the literature in China is extensive, and nobody could possibly read all of it. How does it work? Well, from the Chinese perspective, and Chinese medicine is anchored in Chinese philosophy and the Chinese view of how the world works and what is life. From the Chinese perspective, acupuncture works by influencing the circulation, the quality, and the quantity of qi. And qi is that substance, and it's actually considered to be a substance, although a very fine essence of a substance that circulates in the body and animates all of the functions of the body and is essential to life. So everything that is alive has qi. And in fact, even beyond that, all phenomena in the world are said to be organized by qi. Qi is philosophically and cosmologically the progeny of the universe. It's the product of the interaction of yin and yang, the two primal forces that make up the world as we can know it. So acupuncture influences the qi, the vital force or the vital function of the body. And that's how it works. So that's not a very specific description of how it works, because how it works is really mysterious. And the interesting thing about Chinese medicine and about acupuncture from the Chinese perspective is that the Chinese philosophically, scientifically, practically were not so concerned with the mechanism of things as we are today in our Western scientific, what's called the mechanistic reductionist paradigm, where we want to know exactly how things work in order for us to believe in their efficacy. The Chinese were much more concerned with the actual results. Did it work in practice? Was it efficacious? They were pragmatic, they were empirical, and only afterwards did they concern themselves with theories and speculations about how it might actually work. From the modern perspective, from the scientific perspective in the West, not much of acupuncture's effects have actually been illuminated, except for pain. A great deal of research has been done worldwide in China and the United States and Canada to describe how acupuncture reduces pain. There's a very famous Canadian researcher who did a series of experiments, I think 17 experiments in all, and he started out trying to disprove acupuncture. He's a physiologist in Canada, and what he wound up doing was producing 17 separate lines of evidence demonstrating without a doubt that acupuncture mitigates pain and inflammation in the body, and it does this by stimulating certain neurochemicals and neurohormones in the brain and the peripheral nervous system of the body. His research was so productive that they actually invented a machine that, without needles, stimulates the acupuncture points very much the same way that a needle does. And let me just explain a little bit about that. Traditionally, there is a feeling or a sensation associated with an effective acupuncture stimulation that's called da qi. And basically that means the feeling of the qi. And people describe it in various ways as a feeling of heaviness or a dull ache or tingling, or sometimes a feeling of sensation traveling from one part of the body to another, a feeling of density, a feeling of heaviness. All of these feelings are what's considered to be a signal by the body that the acupuncture is actually being effective. So they were able to design a machine, an electrical device, that stimulated the acupuncture points and produced that sensation. They did a small study with a dozen or so people with rheumatoid arthritis that was not responsive to conventional pain medicine. So what they did was they gave each of these subjects one of these devices to take home with them, and they were told to use them a half hour a day. And within 3 months, they stopped the experiment because more than 80% of the subjects had achieved 100% relief of their symptoms. This researcher has gone on to do additional research on the mechanism of acupuncture in relieving inflammation as well as pain. And from a Western perspective, we are learning more and more that inflammation is really a basic cause of many, many, many acute and chronic illnesses. So we're beginning to see a convergence now between ancient theories and practices and modern understanding and modern practices. And this new information is also influencing the practice of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. Chinese medicine is not a closed system or a closed philosophy. It's very open-minded. It's very able, in comparison with, say, Western medicine, to incorporate new ideas and new paradigms and add them on to its own theories.
Our book, Between Heaven and Earth, A Guide to Chinese Medicine, is an overall source of information about how we think about Chinese medicine, how we explain it, and how you can learn more about it.